This is how you get the most realistic sound design in your videos. How's it going, guys? My name is Parker Shepard. I'm a travel FPV drone pilot and videographer. I spent the past couple years traveling the world filming FPV drone footage, and I am now sharing all of my tips and tricks with you guys here on this YouTube channel. Today I'll be walking you guys through sound design. This has been a very highly requested video. I get so many comments about this every single day, and so I figured I would dive into it and show you guys exactly how I do the sound design for my videos. And it's actually pretty funny. I take it as a compliment whenever people comment on my videos saying like, oh, how'd you get the sound of the drone out and stuff like that. And it's just because my sound design is that good on some of my videos that people think that's the actual natural sound of the environment. And that's kind of what I try to aim for in all my videos and what you guys should be aiming for as well. So I'm gonna dive into all of my sound design stuff today and share exactly with you guys what I do, how I adjust my sound design, my thought process whenever I'm making my videos. All right, we're gonna jump into Premiere Pro now. I'm using Premiere Pro, but this will work for pretty much any software. It's pretty universal across the board. More so just picking the sound design and kind of what elements I choose. There's only a couple like filters and stuff that I use on here. Maybe some of the keyboard shortcuts might be a little different, but everything should be able to transfer to all of their platforms. Whatever software you guys are using, you guys should be able to transfer whatever I talk about here to your software. So jumping right in, the clip I have for today, and I picked this one because I think it'd be a good one, is this really sick FPV drone shot I have from Fiji. I captured this back in October, November, sometime around then. I think it was November, on the GoPro Creator Summit trip with GoPro and with the Tourism Fiji board. Tourism Fiji? Yeah, that sounds right. Fiji Tourism Board, something like that. So yeah, this was captured during that trip, and I thought this would be a perfect one because there's a lot of different sound elements you can play around with here. You have the rainforest, you have the trees, there's likely birds there, you have the waterfall, there's a lot of just like ambient noise and stuff to play around with here, so this is a great clip to do sound design on, so I figured this would be a great one to do a little tutorial with. So first off, I like to throw in a little bit of, I use this one, forest wind is what it's called. It's just like a little bit of white noise. So you guys can hear that. I'm gonna cut it right at the end of the clip and I'm going to fade it out with the fade of the video. Now what I like to do is I like to come in here and actually throw a Bezier, whatever this is called. I like to toss this over the clips and I feather it out a little bit here under levels. So that just adds like a nice fade out at the end that's nice and feathered. And then I'm going to actually raise the volume of this because as you can see down here, the levels are pretty low. So I'm going to bump that up quite a bit. Just like that. And now, if you guys don't already have any sound effects, which you guys likely don't, I recommend going on to a website like Storyblocks. You can find a ton of sound effects on there. That is a paid platform. If you guys want a free platform, there's good websites. I think it's freesound.org. Yeah, so freesound.org is another great one that you guys can go on and check for sound effects. And then also, if worse comes to worse, I've also just found sound effects on YouTube. I just did this the other day. There was like, I needed some sound effects of some girls kind of like talking, hanging out, and there's nothing really on Soundstripe or Storyblocks or any of those platforms that I typically use. And so I ended up just going on YouTube, finding a clip of some girls talking, downloaded that one, and then threw that into a video. So there's all different ways you guys can pull sound effects. But if you guys are doing commercial projects, make sure you're using a platform like Soundstripe or Storyblocks or something like that you are paying to get these sound effects. All right, so diving straight back into the edit, I have my forest wind in there. Now I want to add some ambience. I'm not sure if I have any jungle ambience. I want some with like some stream and some trees. This one sounds pretty good. I might have some other ones in here. Maybe not. I don't have any great ones. So we're actually going to use this one. Let's replace the one we already added in here because this one's pretty similar, just kind of has some ambience with some birds and what sounds like a little bit of water moving. So we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to drop that in there. And let's feather out that ending on that. Perfect. So now we already have some birds in there, and then we have the kind of wind with the forest going already. Now we're going to add the waterfall, and I have a few waterfall ones saved in here. I think this one's the most realistic, so let's drop that in the timeline here. And we're going to drop that down to where you can't hear it to start, because we're going to feather it in as we come up towards it. So you start to see it around here, so let's add a point and press P to add a point there. We're basically just keyframing the levels of the audio on this one. It's probably going to be at its loudest point around here. And it'll be at its loudest point whenever we're over the waterfall, but I'm just going to raise it up there so we have kind of like a little plateau, so it's kind of, that's where I want the audio to kind of rest at. That sounds like a good level there. Let's see how that sounds. And like I said, it's going to peak up here, so I'm actually going to add another point and raise this up just a little bit. Let's add a point here, and then let's cut it at the end, add another point, drop it all the way down. Let's feather that out a little bit more. Actually, we're going to do this with a Bezier on that. So let's drop this down, and let's stretch this out to where it doesn't really start dropping until later when the clip starts fading out. Perfect. And let's put this here on all this too. Perfect. All right. Next up, let's add a little bit of river noises to this, or like stream noises. Let's see what we have. Something like that. Let's drop those in on the bottom here. Those are obviously going to get drowned out once we get towards the waterfall, because the waterfall is going to be overpowering over that. And this is where we're going to start adding our sound effects at. So I like to use low pass filters a lot whenever I'm editing my audio. So here, and a low pass filter basically just filters out the higher frequencies, so you don't hear like the lower ones, so it kind of adds like a muffling noise. So right now, obviously, we can't see the stream. We know there's a stream there down below underneath the trees, so it's going to be like a little muffled by the trees. So I'm going to drop this filter on there, and I'm going to probably set it to like a 3000. And you'll just play around with these levels to find what sounds best. And then I'm going to raise that up as we get towards the bottom. And then as you hear, it gets drowned out by the waterfall. And it's very subtle. You don't really notice it a whole lot, but it's definitely there. And again, we are going to fade it out at the end with the other ones, and we're going to do the exact same thing. Throw a Bezier on there and stretch out to that point. Boom. All right, now we need more audio tracks. So I'm gonna right click here on my third audio one and just click add track. That's gonna add another one on the bottom. We're gonna go ahead and add 3 of them, just so we have more room to work with. And then I'm gonna go to settings and expand all my tracks so they're all equal, and then I have more room down here. I'm gonna raise this up a little bit. Alright, so already I think that sounds really good, but we are going to add in some whoosh sound effects. So we go through all of those trees right there, so we're going to add some whoosh sound effects as we're passing through that hole in the trees, just so it kind of adds some depth to it. Alright, so now we're going to add some whoosh sound effects in there. And now I pretty much always use the exact same one. And I just adjust the length of it, I adjust the low pass of it. So I really just drop the same one in my timeline, and then I just adjust all the different lengths and the low pass filters and all of that on the clip to make it sound different from each other. So I use the exact same clip. I only use one sound effect. I have a multiple, but this is just the one I like. So I use this one for literally everything, and then I just adjust it as I go. So let's watch the clip, find this point where we want to do the first whoosh sound effect at, and then we'll drop it in there. So I think we want one here, like a longer one. Let's turn that audio back on. I'm going to mute these other tracks as I do this. So I know it's going to be longer, so I'm going to stretch this out a little bit. Drop it to where that peak kind of sits, right where we're going over those leaves on that branch. Let's stretch it out a little bit more this way. I feel like I need 3 in here. I feel like I need one here, that right there, like a smaller one, and then another one there. So let's do a softer one there. And I actually want to play with the low pass on this one. So let's drop a low pass filter on there. Let's do 3000 again. I'm going to back that up just a little bit. Right there. Maybe not. And this is where the playing around comes with, just like finding what sounds natural and what sounds best. So you just keep playing with different levels, keep adjusting the length, keep playing with the timing on the timeline, stuff like that, just to get the audio to sound natural. And whenever you play that with the other stuff, when you play it by itself, it sounds a little bad, but when you add the other audios into it, it sounds better. Alright, let's add another one down here. Shorten that up a little bit. And let's drop the audio on that one. Let's drop it. Let's actually up this one. Let's do 5000. And let's add our last one down here. This one's going to be a little longer, and let's do this one at 2000. And you want all of them to be different, so that it doesn't sound like they're repeated sound over and over again, so then you kind of get a variation in it, and that's what's going to add more depth to your audio. There we go. Let's actually drop this down a little bit. You should be able to like notice it when you're really listening to it, but it shouldn't sound out of place. I want a bird, like right around here. I want like a bird sound effect. So I'm gonna pull one of, I know like the ambience has some already in it, but I wanna pull one of the sound effects I have for birds and just drop it there at the end. Let's pull that one, drop it in here. Drop it down low, and I'm going to toss a low pass on it. Let's go 5,000. Make sure that fades out so it doesn't have a hard cut. Let's bump it up a little bit this way so it doesn't sound like it's at that faded out part. Try that. It's very, very subtle, and that's what I want all these sound effects to be. I want them to be very subtle so it doesn't sound like something's out of place or anything like that. Essentially, I want to get my videos to the point where you can watch it without adding any music to it, and it sounds great. Now, obviously, I add music to it then on Instagram and TikTok just to kind of add a little bit more kind of emotion and feel to the video, but primarily I want the videos to stand alone by themselves without having any other music or anything like that added to it. And I think that's exactly what we're doing here. I'm pretty happy with this, and I would say this is a pretty solid final product. Yeah, that is it. I'm gonna call it good on that video. And now I'm just gonna export it, and then when I go to Instagram, I will add in my music to it. And what I'll do on Instagram is I will bump the audio all the way up for the video itself whenever I go into like the audio controls. And then I will add in some music to it, and I'll drop the music levels pretty low. So I usually drop them down to like 20 to 50% in that range. So then it's just kind of like adding a subtle touch to it. It doesn't sound too overpowering whenever I'm posting it. And yeah, that's that. So yeah, that's all I have for this video today. I hope this was helpful for you guys. If you guys liked today's video, please drop a like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. And if you guys don't already follow me on Instagram and TikTok, follow me there. I'll leave the links in the description. And I will also link some platforms to get audio in the description as well. So if you guys are looking for sound effects, you guys can find those links down below. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and I will see you guys next time.